Good morning, dear children. Welcome to part 5 of chapter Computer Networks 1. So in our previous video, we were discussing about various guided medias that were twisted pair cable, fiber optic and coaxial cable. Now we will be discussing about the various unguided media that we are going to use to transfer our data from one part of the world to another. So these three unguided medias are microwaves, radio waves and infrared waves. Actually, what happens when we transfer our data through air? Okay, the medium actually for unguided media is air. And why it is unguided? Why it is called unguided? Because when you're sending your data through cables, the path is known to us, that our data is going to go from this part of the world to another using this path. So path is known to us. But when we are using unguided media, that is air, so at that time we actually do not know that which way our data will hop from one part to another, from one tower to another. But yes, of course, this is a surety that our data is going to reach its destination definitely. So three unguided medias will be microwaves, radio waves and infrared waves. When the data transfers through these waves, actually what happens? The data is actually modulated on these waves. Okay, so and then with the help of these waves only, as these waves travel through the air, our data also just travels along with these waves only and it reaches the destination. Okay, so let us begin with microwaves. So there are two types of microwaves, that is terrestrial microwave and satellite microwave. The frequency for terrestrial microwave is 4 gigahertz to 6 gigahertz, and for satellite ones it is 1 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. So in terrestrial microwave, what happens? The tower is set up at very high position from the earth. Okay, and these towers actually at the topmost area there is a parabolic structure, and these parabolic structure actually sends the data. There are three things for sending these data. One is the transmitter, that is transmitting the data. Another one is the receiver. These are actually are the towers only, receiver and transmitters. Okay, so transmitter is the one which is transmitting the data, receiver is the one which is receiving the data, and of course the medium is air here. So what happens? As soon as the data goes to a transmitter, it is taken and then it is amplified, and then again it is retransmitted to the other tower, right? And this is how your data reaches its destination. Now the data gets transferred in a line of sight only. That means in a straight line only the data can be transferred. So between two towers there should be no obstacle, no object should come in between the data and the tower. So that is how the data actually reaches when we are using terrestrial microwaves. And when we use satellite microwave, the data gets transferred with the help of satellite, which is placed in the orbit of Earth, right? So you can see here microwave stations are there. Okay, so these are the towers that are placed on the earth very high, and these are the parabolic structures which are actually transmitting your data from one tower to another in a line of sight only, right? And this is how your data reaches the destination. Now you can see here, this is how your data gets transmitted, and using satellites we can transmit our data using microwaves as well. Okay, now the next one is the radio waves. Now radio waves are used to transmit actually radio signals, which are used in radios and TVs. Okay, they use sine waves to transmit data. These are the continuous waves, and again the same thing happens. The data is modulated onto these sine waves, and then that data goes from one part to another. Frequency of it ranges between very low frequency, that is 30 hertz, to 300 gigahertz. So this is the bandwidth of radio waves. So a lot of data can be transferred from one part to another. Like when you talk using your mobiles, you're using radio waves. When any military communication goes on, again they use a particular bandwidth. So a particular frequency is set for these military people only. So they use radio waves for transferring of means for communication purpose or for transferring of any data. So this is how the radio waves system work, and you can see a sine wave over here, and on this only the data is modulated and thus it gets transferred. Now next is the infrared waves. So what are infrared waves? They are very of a short wavelength. They have a short wavelength actually, and what happens, they can be used within a room only, because these infrared waves cannot penetrate into the walls. They cannot trespass any wall. So what happens, as soon as any object or any wall comes in between, these infrared waves bounce back from there, right? So that is why we can connect the computers or devices using infrared waves, but they should be placed within the room itself, right? So when we use our TV remotes, so TV remote is a very common example for which uses infrared radiations. Okay, so you can use TV remotes by sitting anywhere in the room, and then you can use the TV. Similarly, wireless speakers, wireless mouse, okay, any kind of thing that is wireless can be means they can use infrared radiations for their operation. So you can see here, point to point we are using the remote, okay, and in the next way we are actually placing the TV remote above the ceiling, means on the ceiling, and from there the ray actually bounced back towards this TV, and the TV gets on. Next is the switching techniques, how your data gets transferred from one place to another. What all methodologies we have studied about various mediums, how our data is transferred, but actually what happens in the beginning before using these communication channel, what actually happens here. So these are the various switching techniques with the help of which we can transfer our data. So they are circuit switching, message switching, and packet switching. So first of all, the circuit switching technique, what happens in this? First of all, see, when we have studied about switches, at that time, what we have learned, that switches actually first of all create a circuit, and then only the work is done, then only the data is transferred. So same technique is followed here in circuit switching. Actually a circuit between the host, that means the sender, and the receiver, a circuit is created, a temporary circuit is created, and then the data gets transferred from one part to another. Of course, see, the whole data is not transferred at one go. The data has to be broken down into pieces, and then this data is sent on to the wire, and hence it reaches the destination, and finally your circuit is broken or it is terminated. Like for example, when we make phone calls using landline phones, so at that time actually a circuit is maintained between the caller and the callee. Okay, and then after completion of all the talks and all, when we just keep our phone down, at that time the circuit between these two people breaks down. So this is what is circuit switching technique. You can see here, first of all, the circuit is formed between the computers, and then only the data gets transferred between them, right? So here first thing is we have to make the circuit. We have to tell that what resources we are going to use, which will be the path of this data, and the whole data goes from the same path. Next is the message switching technique. So what happens here? In this, the whole message is sent to one particular switching office, and then it is stored there. That message is stored there in the buffer of that office. After that, whenever it sees that the other switching office is the traffic is not there, right? Then it sends the data to the next switching office. Again, it stores the data in the buffer. Then it again checks out whether the another switching office is free, the line is free. It gives the data to, it gives the message to that switching office, and finally this is how the data reaches the destination. Okay, this method is also known as store and forward technique. You can see here, sender and receivers are the ones. So we are actually sending two messages here, and the messages actually, first of all, it has gone to node C, that means switching office C, then to A, then to D, and then to E. Similarly, another message was sent, and it is sent from A to B to E and the receiver. This is how the message is being sent here. But the whole message goes to one particular office, and then there it gets stored. Then it sees for the path whether it is empty or not, and then it will resend the message from there. Now in packet switching, what happens? Again, the data is divided into subparts. Okay, it is divided into smaller units of variable length basically, but the maximum length of your packet is known, and it cannot change. Like for example, if 500 MBs of data can be sent at one go, so that is the maximum limit of your packet, right? Now what happens while making the packet, we actually give some extra information also to each and every packet. So we have a file, we have a big file, it is broken down into packets. Now see, we are going to first of all number all the packets, that this is part 1, this is part 2, this is part 3, and so on. So that means every packet has got serial number, every packet is serialized over here. Then the destination address and the source address is written on the packet, and one time stamping is done, that at this time the data started from the source. Now what happens after completion of all the information into the packet is sent onto the network, and then what happens? These packets can reach the destination using different paths. So it reaches the first router, let us suppose, then the router checks out that what is the logical address, then it will send the packets to another router. Now if there is more of the data traffic, okay, between the routers, so what will happen? It is going to reconstruct the routing table. It will just tell that this is not the correct path to go, now you go from here, this is the empty path. So it may be possible that if we have 10 packets for one message, so few packets may go from a different path and few packets may go from a different path. Finally these packets reach their destination, and over there what will happen? They are going to be serialized again, packet number 1 will be placed on the top, second, third, fourth, and finally the whole data gets organized, and finally you can see the correct data. So this is how this packet switching technique works. So you can see here, packet C1 is going from a different route, C2 is going from a different route, but they all reached computer C. Right? So this is what is packet switching technique. So with this we come to the end of this part also. I'll meet you in the next part. Thank you.